space, the final frontier.
The Federation does have enemies. We must seek them out.
I'm never really doing anything during this. I just look around and look at things like I am doing something, but I'm not really doing anything.
I'm getting my news stories back.
Yeah, look at me. I'm preparing.
He's typing away on something, yeah.
It's a steering wheel.
Exactly.
I can imagine on the YouTube version of this, when people are watching this, they think we're actually doing something while the intro's playing. Anybody listening to it and not on YouTube has no clue.
Yeah. We're just lying to them.
We
Yeah.
will continue exploring, discovering new worlds, new civilizations.
Is that all this meant to you? Just another spatial anomaly, just another day of growth.
Do you ever see Star Trek?
The three of us and millions of primitive humans.
Is that a Fortnite cup?
No, it's Justice League Cup.
All right.
Fortnite, no. It looks like Star Trek. It acts like Star Trek. And
I thought you would appreciate the wonder of uniting the league.
oh boy.
All I saw was night.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Fortnite's
Fortnite.
dead. Fortnite's
No.
dead. All right, welcome to
I've never played
Trekcast.
Fortnite.
I've
I
never
have.
played it. I've never played it either, but
It's fun, but for a day.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I mean,
There
you
you
do
go.
it over and over and over and over again.
you're also not 9 years old.
No,
so,
I'm
you
not.
No, I'm not. I act like it, but I'm not.
Yeah. All right, let's get moving to the intro. Welcome to Trekcast. I am Chad Waldo. One of your hosts, as always, with me is Dan Lombardo and Daniel Reyes.
It's
We
me.
didn't get the names messed up that time. That was wonderful. So we are the most unpredictable Star Trek podcast in the universe, including how we're going to start the show every week. You never know how it's going to happen. Whether
We
or not
never
we're
know.
going to play the intro or not going to play the intro, whether Skype's going to work. Today, the Skype gods have decided to kind of descend upon us on this Sunday morning at 10:30 and say yes after you waited around for half an hour. You are now finally ready to go. So,
Indeed.
It is the way it is. So, gentlemen, how are we doing this morning?
Good.
Good. I've got family in from out of town, so it's been kind of nuts.
Oh,
Nice. That's
That's
always
nice.
good.
Yeah. So a lot of trips to the airport tomorrow because they all go back.
oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are they in from?
California, but each one is a different part of California.
Oh,
So one's
awesome.
from northern and one's from southern.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
On the same flight, going into the same area, or they got to go to different places, or
No, they have different departure times, but they're within half an hour. So I think I'm just taking them all at once
that's
because
good.
there's no way I could go back and come back in time. So yeah. It's like a 45-minute drive to the airport. So
So you're gonna have like a $12 slice of pizza at Sbarro's for lunch tomorrow? In the
God
terminal.
no. The good thing is our airport is really close to the city, like 10
Okay.
minutes, so I can go to the city and get something if I want it.
Nice.
I already have my plan. I'm gonna get some gimbap.
So what?
Gimbap. You never heard of it?
Gimbap. No.
It's
wait.
Korean
you,
sushi.
you serve that with gak. Gak. Gimbap.
No, it's Korean sushi. It's so good.
Korean sushi.
What's so
Yeah.
different about Korean sushi versus regular sushi?
It's kind of sweet and it's got eggs in it. And this little old lady grandma that I think hates me sells it. I don't care. It's delicious.
She's the Goomba Nazi as opposed to the
Yeah.
soup Nazi.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's a place near us. I've never been to it. But it's, what is it? It's Mexican Asian fusion is what it's supposed to be. And I have no idea what that's like. And every time I drive by, I make that sound that Daniel made. I go, huh. But
I'm guessing a lot of rice because we both love rice.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like egg rolls with salsa.
Yeah, it's what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's on the list. It's on the to try list.
Yeah. I would try that.
One of these days, I got to go back to Lambert's. It's south of here by a little ways, but there's a couple of them. But when you go into Lambert's, you sit down at your table. Everything's hardwood floor. They bring you a bucket of peanuts. You're supposed to throw your shells on the floor. And when you want your rolls, you say you're ready for rolls, and they throw them at you from across the restaurant. So you have to catch them as they throw them to you.
Oh,
Big, hot rolls. So
Jeez.
it's a wild place. I haven't been there in a long time, but that's another one I always like keep on my list of places to go.
All right.
But all right, let's get. You want to get right into the news, Dan? You ready to go? Now that you're,
I'm ready to go.
all
Yeah,
hopped
let's
up.
do it.
All
Now
hopped
that
up
you're fully medicated.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
fully
yeah.
medicated. I'm set to go. What's
All
the
right,
news
here we
first?
go.
I don't know. What am I rolling on now?
Attention all hands. It's time for Star Trek news.
Indeed. So our first news story comes to us from trekmovie.com, and the headline reads, Star Trek Discovery Season 2 wins 3 Saturn Awards.
Yeah.
So if you don't know about this, the Saturn Awards were, they happened on Friday, on the 13th. So, great day for that, Friday the 13th. And Season 2 won some awards, just like Season 1 before it. They won in 3 categories, including Best Streaming Science Fiction, Action, or Fantasy Series, Best Streaming Presentation for Sonequa Martin Green, and Best Supporting Actor for Doug Jones. So that's pretty cool. Doug Jones was actually there in person to accept the awards.
That's
So that was
Saru,
cool.
right?
Saru, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Which
I like it.
I found out that Saru means monkey in Japanese.
Huh.
Yeah, so there's that. Yeah,
Okay.
whatever.
I
Yeah.
guarantee you they didn't do that on purpose.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
You think so?
I want to wait till season 3 when we see him eat an apple and he's just like.
He's like that old Saturday Night Live Mr. Peepers.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Hopping
there
on
you go.
tables.
Bits of apple flying all over
Yeah.
the bridge.
It's just spitting it in people's faces. He doesn't like an order. He just spits the captain. I should have been captain.
Oh, he won't be captain. They're gonna shaft
No,
him
he
again.
won't be. It's going to be the running joke. He's not allowed to be captain.
Yeah, he's kind of like
Yeah.
Kim, not allowed to be anything other than an ensign.
Yeah.
So
So our next news story comes to us from Newsweek. Headline is, No Worf in Star Trek Picard. CBS squashes Michael Dorn cameo rumors. So if you don't know about this, apparently they wrapped Picard pretty recently, principal photography, and one of the cinematographers showed his wrap gift. It's common that sometimes the higher ups get gifts at the end of a show, and he got a slate, the little clacker board, signed by all the cast members, and Michael Dorn's signature is on there. So that's what's got everybody freaking out that, oh my God, Worf is in here. It's signed by Jerry Ryan and Jonathan Frakes and Maria Sirtis. I mean, everybody's on there. Patrick Stewart, of course, Alison Pill. So
why is Dorn's signature on the thing?
Dorn's signature is probably on the thing because he was on set the day that they were doing that, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hoping someone would pay him.
Yep. And it's like, let's say you're the intern and it's your job to go around and get everybody to sign the slate, and you hand it to Patrick Stewart. He signs it. He hands it back to you. Frakes is standing right next to him. You hand it to him. He signs it, right? And then Michael Dorn is looking at you longingly.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do? Here you go.
It's like that scene in Endgame when they're taking the picture with Hulk, and Ant-Man's like, "Oh, you can take a picture with me," and nobody wants to. It's like that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So when they squashed that rumor, they squashed it that Worf wasn't going to be in the show, but did they say specifically that Michael Dorn wasn't going to play a character on the show?
Well, they said Worf because that's Michael Dorn's character.
Right.
Yeah.
So he could show up. Michael Dorn could just show up as Michael Dorn as some other named character, but just playing himself as a human or whatever.
The other thing is this is Hollywood. They plan these shows out differently than they used to.
Yeah.
Back in the TNG era, they had a roadmap for season 1, and then they had a roadmap for season 2, and towards the end of season 2, they maybe knew some things they wanted to do in season 3, but they didn't have it all planned out. Nowadays, it's like, okay, we have this show. It's going to be 5 seasons. This is the season 1 arc. This is the season 2 arc. This is the season 3 arc. So I mean, for all we know, Michael Dorn and Worf are a huge part of season 2,
Right.
and we just don't know that yet.
Well, basically from the beginning, they said this is going to be a 3-season show.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Patrick Stewart was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you ready to bust out your tinfoil hats? Because it's time to get woke.
Oh boy, is this about birds?
No, it's not about the birds. We already know they're not real.
As my daughter says, the birds work for the bourgeoisie.
Yeah, my thought is Dan might be very correct here. Worf could be our end credit scene, for lack of a better term.
Yes, exactly.
And they don't want that coming out yet, so they just deny that he's in it.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And you know what? They wouldn't be lying, because the end credit scene is not part of the show. That's an advertisement for the next season.
Exactly.
That's how they would spin that.
Or he's in a short trek.
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be all over.
I also got a fun little tidbit. It's not really a news story, but I'm going to combine two different things here. First one comes from trektoday.com. CBS's chief creative officer spoke recently at the Bank of America Merrill Lynch Communications and Entertainment Conference in Los Angeles.
That's a mouthful.
That old chestnut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about Star Trek because, you got to tell those investors and let them know what's up. He says, we really believe in not serving inside our own ecosystem, but serving people outside, meaning viewers and fans. What we're trying to do right now with Star Trek is build a brand. We want it to get younger and more relevant to people. So basically, you're going to hate it.
Younger and more relevant means more woke.
Yeah, more woke, so more fake drone birds. They also want to create what they call a virtuous ecosystem, meaning they want Star Trek in movies, TV, and streaming options. So a lot of Trek down the road, or that's the hope at least. And then our last news story comes from sci-fi.com. It's not really a news story, just letting you guys know that if you want more Red Angel goodness, IDW is creating an Aftermath comic book that's on shelves right now, dealing with the fallout of the Red Angel from season 2 of Discovery. And one of the other great things about this is we all know that the Red Angel is Burnham's biological mother, or do we? Yeah.
Oh, no. Well,
Dan loves that.
It was her and her mom. We got that all nailed down in the last episode of season 2. So
do we?
Yeah, we do.
You don't think the comics can change that?
Yeah, comics can do whatever the hell they want. But yeah, as far as the show goes, that's where they left it. But anyway.
They'll do what they want.
They will. So getting back to the Dorn thing, I had a question, because we posted this on the Facebook group. Mm-hmm. If they do bring Worf back, does Worf look like Worf from Nemesis, where we last saw him? Or does Worf look like the new Klingons now?
Ooh,
or
that's
some
a good question.
amalgamation of the two?
No, he's got to look the way he always looked. Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to put my foot down. Mm-hmm. If he shows up in Picard or Picard season 2, and he looks like a Discovery era Klingon, I'm out. No, I mean it. I'm out. I'm out of the show. I'm out of Star Trek. I'm out of Trekcast. I'm out of Trekcast. You guys are looking for a host.
Oh, man.
I'm putting my foot down, because that'd just be ridiculous.
Yeah.
That would just be ridiculous. You have 7 seasons of TNG, whatever, 3 or 4 seasons of Deep Space Nine, and
the movies.
And 4 movies that he looked like that.
Yep.
You can't change a specific character. I understand they want to change the design of, they tweak the design of the different aliens. That's fine. But this is a character.
It's a whole overarching reboot of the Klingons and their ships and the whole 9 yards. It's not just a different look.
Well, I would say, if that's the case, Dan, If anyone wants to be our new co-host, let us know.
Wow, that was fast. That was fast, man.
Show must go on.
Ouch.
No, I really think they're gonna make him look the way they want him to look. It might be some sort of amalgamation of the two, but
What about other
they're gonna
Klingons
change him up.
that show up in Picard? I mean, there has to be Klingons in Picard. They can't do a whole series and not have a Klingon show up at all once, ever.
What I really hope they do is just that's what they looked like in the Discovery era. Just like that's what they looked like in the TOS era. That's what they looked like in the movie era. That's what they look like TNG and forward.
I would love that. I hope that that's the case, but
yeah,
I don't know, man. They keep changing things just to change them. They may even come up with a whole nother look just to do it.
Yeah, in season 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they're in the future. Why not?
I mean, they're so far into the future. You could just have a whole completely different group of aliens, all in kind of different areas, and not even care about the rest of where the Federation was and who know who. I mean, you could do anything at that point and have good explanations for it because it's 930 years in the future, so you can kind of rewrite everything at that point.
Right.
Which is probably where they should have started the show.
Is there an echo in here? Is there an echo?
Yeah.
Indeed. How much longer do you think Discovery runs? 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons?
If season 3 is good, then several more, a few more. I mean,
I think that depends on the rating difference between Picard and season 3 of Discovery.
Yeah.
Because that's basically going to tell them, they watched this because this was the only thing out there, but they really want more of this.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that kind of an obvious thing anyway? Like, do these people really need to have marketing surveys or viewership numbers to know that more people would probably be interested in Jean-Luc Picard than Michael freaking Burnham? I mean, that's kinda... Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'd probably be mortified is what I'd be.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of the Facebook group real quick, I'll give a plug there because we've been trying to get up to 2,400 members over the last few weeks, months, whatever. Yeah. And in the last couple of weeks, we've added quite a few people. So if you're not part of the Trekcast Facebook group, go over there now. We have lots of discussions throughout the week in between shows, just like the one we had about Michael Dorn and whether or not he was going to look like a Klingon from TNG or if he's going to look like a Klingon from Discovery and all of that. I even put up a poll a week ago about this question as well, and I can't find it, so whatever. But anyway, new members that have recently joined the Facebook group, I want to welcome them in. Bethany Lee, Orson C.C. Heiser, Rob Schimmer, Christopher Hunt, Christopher Stratton, Lloyd Wheeler, and there's probably other Christophers. So, I mean, we probably have a lot of Christopher Robins over there somewhere, too. But those are some of the newest members of the group. Thank you for joining, guys. Hope you're having a good time with everybody else that's in the group. Welcome to the show. So, anyway, back to the news. Sorry.
Oh, I'm done with news.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Do we have any feedback?
Yeah, we do.
Incoming subspace signal. Incoming subspace signal. Incoming subspace signal.
That could be shorter.
Yeah. A little bit.
Just a little bit. I like it. It's good, but it could also just be I just play this one.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
It's only 7 seconds, and then you're done. So
yeah, but we are the most unpredictable Star Trek podcast. So
correct. Yeah. So you got to make it that way.
Yep. Just pick one. Pick a different one the next week.
Yep. Okay, so we got 2 donations recently on the Old Coffee account over there. So if you've given a donation to the show, we really appreciate it. Somebody bought a coffee. They didn't just buy a coffee. They bought $30 worth of coffee.
Wow.
Just about 10 days ago now. So
yeah.
that was amazing. We really appreciate that. That anonymous donation, that was pretty cool. That's great.
Do we have to sing anything?
No, we don't. And then Sam, who's very consistent every month to month, gives us a little donation. We really appreciate it. I don't remember exactly how much he gave.
He gave, I think, like
$9,
like $9,
like that?
I think.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We appreciate that, Sam. And
Thank you.
In his post for his donation, because every time you leave a donation, you can write up anything you want, and I have to either say it, sing it, or spray it into the microphone
Indeed.
on the next show. And so Sam wrote, the Starship Draft was one of the best episodes of any podcast I've ever listened to. You guys had me rolling. Don't worry, I'm not making Chad sing Faith of the Heart this week, LOL. But I may have to write an entire Trekcast-based parody of it. Anyway, thanks for the show.
That's awesome.
So, so we
Nice.
love that show. If you haven't listened to our last episode, go back and listen to it after you're done listening to this one, obviously. But it was the Starship Draft in honor of the start of football here in the States, here in America. Football is in the weird-shaped ball that's not really round, and you throw it, not the round
American
one that you
football,
kick.
yeah.
It's American football, not football, as they say overseas. Anyway, so we
football.
appreciate that.
So speaking of the draft, didn't we put a poll up on who had the best crew?
We did put a poll up on who had the best crew.
I know.
I wasn't going to mention that. I believe Dan won that hands down.
Yeah.
We got spanked, Daniel.
Little bit.
I think a lot of people want to see a libertarian Starfleet.
That was funny. I really didn't expect that. I really did not expect you. Not only did I not expect you to pick him, but I also did not expect you, everybody to love that. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I was
Yeah.
really surprised by that.
You know what? It's all about having fun. It's all about
It is.
picking, fun or interesting characters for people to talk about. So
Yep.
I had a good time. I had a good time doing that show.
That was a good
Yeah, that
show.
was a lot of fun. Yeah. We'll have to do it again next year, just in time for
Maybe
football.
we do it like during the actual draft as opposed to the beginning of football season. Like when the actual NFL draft is, as opposed to...
Either way, we
Yeah.
can do it whenever. Yeah.
Although we might be a little busy next April when the actual draft comes around.
Yeah, well, Daniel and I are looking at each other like, I don't know when that is, Chad.
Yeah,
I
right.
know.
Yeah,
You'll have
I
to
know
tell.
what it is. So, there you go. Sports
I know.
nerd
I know
alert.
football's in the fall. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I had a couple buddies of mine go, you actually know when the real draft is? Yes, I know when the real draft is. They're like, okay, we're just checking your man card.
Whoa.
See, and I would say, what sport?
Yeah, what sport? Yeah.
Yeah.
My man card. Let me tell you something. My man card is filled up, and I don't need football.
Danny, have you ever been to a pro sports game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
They're
I
fun.
have.
They're fun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Ping
I'm not
pong
a
world
big-
champions
There you go.
2013.
Oh, geez.
Go to a lot of curling.
Ping pong world
No, I got
championship.
lucky.
Oh, my God. Ping pong.
No, I mean I'm a New Yorker. I've been to plenty of Yankee games over the
Yeah.
years. Mostly back in the day when I was a kid.
So not the Mets, huh?
I've been to
Who's going to the Mets?
two Met games.
Okay.
One it was because everyone in my extended family was attending the game together, and they were tailgating in the parking lot.
Oh, nice.
And the other one, I was caller 9, so
Caller 9.
Very
I
cool.
just watched the episode season 7 DS9. That is one of the other episodes I actually got to watch this week when I was on the road. That and the movie here for our review, but
Yeah.
when they went and played baseball in the holodeck against
Oh, yeah.
the Vulcans. I
Yep,
love that.
I watched
love
that
that
one
episode.
a few weeks ago.
Love that
That's a good
episode.
one.
That's a great episode. Yeah.
Yep. That's just
Well, should
funny
we
as
get to
hell.
our movie review?
Yeah, let's get into no other feedback, no emails or anything you need to
Nah,
read for
we're
us,
good.
buddy? All right.
We're good.
Talking about Star Trek in this week's topic. Talking about the Star Trek in this week's topic.
Trekcast.
Okay, so for our topic this week, ladies and gentlemen, we did a review of Please Stand By,
Mm-hmm.
starring Dakota Fanning, who played a character of Wendy, Alice Eve, who played her sister Audrey, Toni Collette, who plays a character by the name of Scotty, which is really appropriate,
Yeah.
and then, of course, everybody's favorite, Patton Oswalt as Officer Frank. So, if you have
Love
not
Patton
seen...
Oswalt.
I know. If you have not seen this movie yet and you want to watch it before you listen to our review,
There's
we're
going
going
to
to
be a ton of
spoil
spoilers here.
we are going to spoil the ever-loving out of it, so you better just
Right.
stop right now, go watch it, and then come back and listen to the show. So,
Mm-hmm.
I have a synopsis
movie
if
was-
you want me to read it.
Yeah. I was gonna I've got some highlights about it too.
Okay.
Not the synopsis, but like just production stuff. This was released in 2017. Kind of interesting. This movie was simultaneously released in theaters and on demand at the same time. So that's kind of cool. Its box office was not very big. It was only like $400,000. So not even close to small box office. Couldn't find the budget anywhere. I'll keep looking on that.
It's got to be pretty low. They didn't really need to spend a whole lot of money on it. It
looks like they shot it on a weekend, honestly. Yeah. A lot of the locations look repurposed and all that.
Yeah.
It was put out by Magnolia Films. The writer of this movie, what's his name? Michael Guillemacco. He's also wrote that Netflix movie that everyone was all excited about, the Always Be My Maybe, the one with Keanu Reeves in it. Yeah. So same guy behind that. So pretty neat. It's a Ben Lewin film, and go ahead, Chet. I'm gonna see if I can find the box office.
Yeah, so I mean, this synopsis does it no justice at all. It says Wendy sees things differently. She's fiercely independent with a brilliant mind and a mischievous sense of hilarity. Wendy also has autism. To her, people are an indecipherable code, and the world is a confusing place. Inspired by her no-nonsense caregiver, Wendy comes of age and escapes from her care home on the road trip of a lifetime to deliver her 500-page script to a screenwriting competition. That just doesn't do it justice.
No.
That just doesn't do it justice at all. But, oh well. Overall, before we get into kind of the details of what goes on in this, I give it a thumbs up. I mean, if you are any fan of all of Star Trek, you will enjoy this just from the little references hinted here and there.
Yeah.
If you like any movies at all that just are drama movies that involve real character pieces, then this is definitely a movie for you as well. And if you need some other excuse to get your wife drug into, or significant other, to watch anything related to Star Trek, this is one of those movies as well. So, pretty good.
Yeah, there's no listing of what the budget was for the film.
They could have shot the thing on an iPhone, and it would have looked like it did. I mean, not that it has bad videography in it. It doesn't. It has great videography in it, but really,
it's
it was
just the type of movie that it is.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing fancy about it. There's no special effects. There's no stunts. There's no car chases.
There's a little bit of special effects, and it starts out like that too when they've got the original TOS suits.
Yeah.
That they made, and they're walking on Mars. What looks like Mars, anyway. They do that a few times, and that's pretty well done. There's nothing hokey about that at all.
No.
But that's about the only special effects there are. You see that maybe twice. Maybe twice in the whole movie you see that. There might have been a third, but I'm just thinking of the two times.
Yeah, because they do it again at the end. But
they do it again at the end, yeah.
Excuse
That's pretty well done. Those suits look just like they just came right off the set of TOS.
Mm-hmm. For me, I don't know how much in the synopsis you want to get into, but for me, this is kind of this movie really touched me a lot because I've got a brother with Down syndrome, and so I know a lot of people that live in group homes like this. So it was nice to see that it's not a horrible environment in those group homes, but a lot of them do want to go back with their family, and I've had those conversations with them, and it's hard, it's heartbreaking, and so like this really got to me. That's why she wants to win the contest, so she thinks that she can then pay for her own care and live with her sister again. So
the contest is to write a script for Star Trek on their 50th anniversary. You have to deliver it to Paramount or mail it to Paramount. It has to be received by a certain date and a certain time. And that's kind of how the movie starts, is she's trying to win this competition as she's writing a script. I wish that that's more writing involved, but I wish I would have heard a little bit more about what she wrote, because everybody who reads this script of hers says it's fantastic.
Right,
so you kind of get
her
this little bit of
script.
Way too long. But at any rate, that's kind of how the movie starts off, is she's in this group home, which, it seemed like that group home was a little too lax for the people that were in there with the conditions that they had. I mean, there was no security at all. She just walks right out the front door. Is that normal, or is that kind of...
Yeah.
From the ones I know, that's pretty normal.
Wow, that's kind of...
Well, they're adults. Like,
yeah.
They're not prisoners.
I've been in many of these facilities, and that's exactly what they're like. It's a residence. It's a residence that just has, adults with special needs that live there, and usually a minimum of 2 staff members at any given time. But it's totally residential. It's not. There's nothing different about the building than you would. A lot of those places, except for maybe the oversized garbage cans out by the road, because you have maybe 8 adults living in that house.
Right.
You would never know that it wasn't just a regular residence for the family living there.
Yeah. There's one kind of close to a family friend of ours. It's just a normal house in the middle of the street,
Our house.
There you go.
In the middle of the street. Our house.
There you go.
Keep going. Oh, that's good.
So you know what? You know what was nice? It was nice to see Dakota Fanning again.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I could be ignorant, but I don't know how active she's been in the last 10 years. But when I think of Dakota Fanning, I think of the cute little blonde girl who was very well spoken, and in the late 90s and early 2000s had a couple of really high profile parts where people said that kid's going somewhere. And then I don't know if she went back to school and went to college or whatever, but I don't recall seeing her.
I think she's been on a TV show that nobody watches.
Okay, well that happens.
And I think that's the case right now.
Yeah, the last thing I saw her in was the 2009 movie Push with Chris Evans.
Yeah,
apparently she's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the new Tarantino film.
Okay.
So
didn't know that.
I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't know that.
I mean, I remember her from I Am Sam.
Yeah.
She was Sean Penn's daughter. He was he was mentally challenged and was trying to keep custody of her, and I remember she was good in that. That was a good film. I haven't seen that in years, but I remember it being a good film. She was also in, I think she was in, was she in the 4400?
No, it doesn't look like it.
No, she was in something else.
She was in Malcolm in the Middle. She was in Friends. She was in something called The Alienist. That was the show I was thinking about that nobody watched in 2018.
No, she was in. I saw her in something. Taken. That's what it was. Taken. She was in a mini series called Taken. I confused it with the 4400.
Yeah. She was in that.
Yeah, because the main guy was the same. Yeah. There was another actor in common.
Looking at her IMDb, she's been pretty darn active, but it's in a lot of stuff that I've never freaking heard of.
Yeah. That's what I'm noticing too.
I'm looking at all this, and it's like, wow, she's been every year. She's had 1, maybe even 2 or 3
Ocean's 8.
cases.
Never saw that
I didn't
one.
even know she was in that one. So Jen Locke. I have no idea what Jen Locke is. That's another one. Caroline,
what's his
Man
name
on
is
Fire.
in it too?
She was a little
kid from Spider-Man.
Tom Holland?
Yes.
No.
He plays Flash Thompson in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He worked at Cinnabon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Cinnabon. Would you like a Cinnabon?
That was hysterical.
Yeah. I love how she
good.
beat everybody in trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great scene.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic scene. I love that. The best scene overall, though.
I'm glad she got paid, though. I was a little worried there when I was watching, and I thought the employee was just taking advantage of her, and then at the end when halvesies with her.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. But no, my favorite scene, kind of getting ahead of ourselves here with this whole story. But anyway, the favorite scene, my favorite one was with Patton Oswalt when Officer Frank is trying to track her down, and they start speaking Klingon with one another. That was great.
Yeah.
That was just awesome.
His partner's like, what is that, Russian or Scandinavian or whatever it was?
And it's like, never mind, don't worry about it. I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
And she's like,
he
what?
does not want to tell her.
No, he's ready to get razzed about it for the rest of his life if she knows.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Well, I enjoyed that because it's true. Not that there's Klingon speaking cops out there, but that there are Trekkies that come from every walk of life, and you wouldn't know by looking at them.
Yeah,
you know, I've said it before that, you know, I used to ride motorcycles, and I'd go to biker rallies, and I wore you know, the Starfleet communicator on my leather jacket, and you know, I'd get this from across the crowd over and over and over again. So, you know, I've said it before, we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been a closet Trekkie for a long time in my life.
I'm glad you're out of the closet now.
I'm definitely out of the closet now, yeah. So,
I thought this was a great movie. It was.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it. You know, I'm really glad we watched it. I really hope people enjoy it.
It's kind of what I expected, but at the same time, it's not what I expected. You know what I mean? I kind of figured there would be that little bit of so let's back up for a minute. So she's in that home. Her sister has put her there because her sister now has been basically raising her since they were young, because their mother passed away, and that was all that was there for them. And you get these flashbacks every once in a while of what it was like to be around her when she was at home and younger, and it looks terrifying in some cases.
Yeah, it was rough.
But it took me a long time to really understand Audrey, that's Alice Eve's character, that's Wendy, Dakota Fanning's older sister. Yeah. It took me a while to come around to I could understand her character, because at first I just didn't like her character at all, because it felt like she was just trying to get rid of her sister. She's got a husband, she's married, but you kind of get the impression over time throughout the movie that, you know, it has been a struggle for her. It has been a struggle for her entire life. Wendy cannot be around the baby because Wendy has temper tantrums, and you don't want the baby harmed.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're apparently poor because they got to sell a house that I would think would be paid off. They've been living in their mom's home for forever. You'd think that home would be paid off, but they're getting rid of things and they're selling things, and they have to move, and she's just physically, money-wise and physically
well, she
not able to
mentions
take
that her
care
husband finally got a job or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's been rough for a while.
Yeah.
And you know, that whole thing about the baby's true. Like I remember when my sister first had her first kid, and we know, you know, ourselves that my brother's great with babies, but my brother-in-law was kind of like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
We just handed him the baby, you know, and it was fine. I mean, my brother's super gentle, but there are some that aren't, and it's tough. And
right.
You know, to this day, my nephews love to roughhouse, and my brother doesn't know how to control his strength. So like I have to like tackle him every now and then.
Yeah.
He gets too rough, you know. It's
you know what?
Do what you can.
Part of being a parent is making difficult decisions.
Yeah.
And not to, I'll preface this so I don't upset anyone, not to compare a person to an animal, but you know, I had a dog that was with me before I met my wife, Layla. Layla was a black lab pit bull mix. She lived with me when I lived alone. I love that dog. She was the greatest dog. I love that dog with all my heart. And my son was about 2 years old, and she had a couple of seizures in the middle of the night. And we got her on some medication that stopped the seizures, but she was different up here. After that, she started doing things that she never did before. She was always afraid of the refrigerator. If you open the refrigerator, she ran out of the kitchen, you know. And I found her. She was curious about the fridge now. She'd start putting her head in the refrigerator. She hated the bathroom because that meant, you know, she was getting a bath. So she would avoid the bathroom, and she would just walk into the bathroom. So I knew that there was something different about her. Yeah. And then she growled at my son, which she had never, ever done before. And I loved that dog with all my heart. And this was 5 years ago, but I still think about that dog every day. That's how much this dog meant to me. Yeah. And she had to go. Yeah. Yep. She had to go. Yeah. So, you know, I can identify with Wendy. Was that her name? No, Audrey.
Audrey, yeah.
Yeah.
I can identify with Audrey's situation. She's got a daughter now, and, you know, you got to protect your kids.
Yeah.
You do. So. You do. It took me a while to kind of come see her character that way. Because they do. I think they did that on purpose. I think they kind of set that up in the beginning to where you weren't really sure if Audrey was really good for Wendy or not, or if she was just trying to get rid of her or whatever. They don't. Maybe it's just me, but they kind of set that up to where you weren't really sure what to think of her character, and then as the movie goes on, you definitely kind of see her point of view, even though it's hard. And it's hard for her too.
Yeah, well,
she struggles with it. She clearly struggles with it.
That's part of good storytelling.
Yeah,
Is that the first part of the movie you don't know what to think of her, and then you see the visit. You see Audrey comes to visit when Wendy doesn't like the way the conversation's going, throws a tantrum, and Audrey gets punched in the friggin' nose and is injured. And she's a full-size adult and gets knocked over. What would that do to a 2-year-old?
Right, and this is after supposedly Scotty had said that she was doing so much better than what she had been before. So we don't really know what this condition what Wendy's condition was before she went into that home. But you got to imagine it was worse than that.
Yeah.
So,
well, she's got autism, so it's like it's a spectrum. It's hard to tell.
Right.
There's no levels to it.
Yeah, because she can. I mean, it's that's one of the unique things that I guess I don't have a good understanding of as far as the autism goes. But at one point, I mean, right in the beginning of this movie, you see her dealing with everybody that's in the home. She's sitting on her laptop. She's writing a story. She clearly can put together a good sentence structure because a story sounds fascinating, and that's when you start to hear a little bit about it and its relationship between Kirk and Spock, obviously, and even see glimpses of Kirk and Spock in original TOS suits walking on what looks like Mars. And struggling to contact the Enterprise. And so she's able to put together a pretty cognate story. And then when she's done with that morning, she leaves for work and she puts together all of her stuff, gets her iPad, her little iPod, headphones, and walks blocks and blocks to get to the mall where she works at Cinnabon.
Yeah, but she's only able to do that because she's following a script that she and Scotty have sat down and created
they
for
figured
her.
out her routine.
In fact, I wake up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, and then I shower. It's okay to skip one day, but not 2 days. There's a whole scene about that. Yeah. So, she's giving the illusion of being able to function on her own, but she really can't.
Yeah, she's on the rails.
It's rehearsed. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I told my sister to watch this movie because she would get it. Yeah. But
so a question about Scotty, the character Scotty, who runs the group home. I mean, this is a movie that the story is based heavily on Star Trek, so I can't imagine that's a coincidence that they name a character Scotty.
Right. I thought that too.
But I was kind of waiting for them to elaborate on that some way. I thought, I'm going through the movie thinking that's just her nickname for this caregiver, and it's not. Apparently, that's her name, which I think. Did her son call her Scotty?
Yeah.
Which I found that weird.
Well,
too.
She's got a problem with the relationship with her son.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've got a strained relationship.
Well, that's the other thing. I feel like there was a missed opportunity there because they kind of touch on it for a little bit where she starts talking with the son about Wendy's script and he's explaining the characters to her, and you see the beginning of a connection forming between them. But then there was no payoff to it.
No, there wasn't. They kind of let that go.
I thought down the road we would see a scene of them watching Star Trek together or something. Like they found, these two people with their strained relationship, they found something to connect the two of them, and they're going to build on that. And they just kind of let that fall by the wayside.
Well, I think they used that scenario between the two of them for two reasons, and that's why they didn't go any deeper with it, because it was only there for those two reasons. Number one, to demonstrate that there's a serious disconnect between Scotty and her son, where they're not communicating very well at all. And number two, it actually goes to show how disconnected Scotty is from everything else. Her whole world is the people that are in this residence. That's her entire world. She puts all of her focus into it, their care, their well-being, how to make them better. and nothing else gets in her way of that, right? Not even her own son. That's part of the problem. So,
yeah,
I mean, she doesn't even really know what Star Trek is, let alone the characters. And even though she's got one of her major patients there that she's helping, is writing an entire script that she talks about all the time, right? So, I mean, and watches every night. That's part of her routine. 7 o'clock, she watches Star Trek. But yet, she's never connected with her patient or whatever on that area that's so big to her, right? So, I mean, it kind of goes to show that she's disconnected from a lot of
I think,
things.
too, that, like, this film is based off of a play, a short play. So, I mean, the movie itself is only 90 minutes. It's a quick movie.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these hanging, threads are just byproduct of the original source material. I'm reading a little bit about the differences between the play and the movie. One of the things that I thought was kind of interesting, in the original play, Wendy is the older sister, and Audrey's younger.
Oh.
And yeah, and then another thing.
Yeah,
too
that would
is,
have changed the dynamic completely in the movie.
Yeah. Another thing I thought was funny, it says in the original play, she has to get it to Paramount so that Joss Whedon could read it. Because he's running the contest. So
Yeah.
that's funny. Yeah. And the original play came out in 2008, so this has been a brewing for a while. Yeah.
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 So no, she
I really liked it. Huh?
No, I was just going to keep going with kind of the synopsis of the movie.
Yeah, go for it.
And some of the scenes. But that's when the adventure starts for her, is because she tries to get this thing done. She wants her sister to help take her and help her mail it that day that her sister comes and visits.
Yeah.
And that's not because she thinks that she's going home or something, but that is not what's happening at all. Her sister's there to tell her she's moving. And from the sounds of it, they never get to that point because Wendy has a breakdown. But from the sounds of it, they're going to be moving away for, like, maybe she won't be able to visit very often. They're not going to be close. Is what she's trying to. Is what they kind of alluded to. Although she never really gets to where they say that. So yeah, that's when the breakdown happens, and that's where the title of the movie comes from. The only way to calm Wendy down when she does have a breakdown is to go into that "please stand by," where you repeat that over and over again, kind of like the computer would say in TOS, Major Barrett's voice. So. That was kind of interesting how they tied that in. I kind of like that. But
do we know what this is?
Do what?
Do we know what this is?
With the circular thing.
Yeah.
It's a trigger thing. Having dealt with some people like that, sometimes they have triggers, stuff like that, to calm them down right away, or it's a comfort thing.
Yeah. When they can't be touched. But it's a hug, and it's emotion, and it's something that they have to do, and so that just makes them think about
it's
that
a familiarity
for a second,
that
and makes them stop thinking about something else. Yeah.
That's all that was. I guess for me, like, that was secondhand because I'm used to that stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's It's always something different. We don't have anything like that with my brother. He's pretty. You can touch him and hang out with him and hug him and all that. That's cool. But there are some that are very like, stay away from my bubble, and I love my bubble. So.
Yeah, but that's how the adventure starts. They have that little breakdown right there, and Alice gets, Audrey anyway, gets punched in the face, and that's when she has to leave. She's crying, she's bawling, and that's a problem. She doesn't want to leave, She doesn't want to leave her sister there. She doesn't want to abandon her, those kinds of things. But, that's when Wendy hatches her plan to leave. She can't leave at night. She can't be outside when it's dark, so she doesn't want to do that part of it. But the rest of it, she can. As soon as daylight hits at 6:45, she starts walking, and this is when you kind of see the issue that her condition has, where the mental state that she's in, where she takes like looks like she takes. Well, she has a lot of money actually in her wallet, but change wise, she has no idea.
That's her trivia money.
That's her trivia money, but she has no idea. She has no idea what it's going to cost to get to L.A. to get to Paramount. She just starts walking,
Well, I mean, she goes to the city bus stop.
Yeah.
The bus that just goes around the city. Thinking,
right.
I'm going to get on this bus and they'll take me to Los Angeles.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. So she just starts walking. She gets kicked off the bus when she finally finds one, but she's kicked off the bus because she's got the damn dog with her.
Yeah. Pete?
She sneaks that into her. Yeah, she sneaks Pete into her purse. So, but, you know, she gets ripped off at one point where the lady at the baby steals her money. That was horrible.
Yeah.
That was just horrible. Then she's on the old folks home bus, and I don't know why, you know, an octogenarian's driving the shuttle at night. You know, what is up with that?
He's
and
fine to drive.
Crash.
Leave him alone.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out where they were coming from. Was that like
casino?
one of those? I was just gonna say, was that one of
Yeah.
those casino trips?
Yeah, probably. So, yep, that's when she gets into the crash, goes to the hospital, manages to sneak out. So all of her issues, all of her problems with autism, she's pretty bright.
Yeah.
She's pretty bright. There's areas where she doesn't understand things and she doesn't have any common sense sometimes, but she's pretty damn bright.
Well, it's also the further she gets from her routine, the more free thinking she has to do.
Yeah.
She makes a decision, I'm going to do this, but I'm not allowed to go out when it's dark out. So I'm going to wait.
Right.
And then she waits till morning, and then she goes, she packs all her stuff up, she walks, and she gets to Market Street, and I'm not allowed to cross Market Street. And you see that, it takes a bit for her to decide she's going to do it. And then once she does it, it's like, well, you know what? I already crossed Market Street, so, everything else
here we go.
is irrelevant. Here we go.
Yeah. She even mentions that to the few people that she comes across and talks to.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to cross Market Street, but I did, or whatever, however she said
Yeah,
that.
they're like,
That was
whatever.
kinda funny. Yeah, like, what does that mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
What,
No, it gets that way.
What was also interesting is like, the first bus pulls up, she asks to go to Los Angeles, and the guy just shoots her a look like, no.
Yeah.
And then the second bus pulls up, and she asks to go to Los Angeles, and it's like, no. And the thing is, a person with autism, they look just like everyone who doesn't have autism.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, people interacting with them, it's easier for them to be a douchebag.
Right.
Because they probably don't realize the situation.
Right.
I've never met your brother, but you said he has Down syndrome.
He's got Downs, yeah.
Okay. So, people with Down syndrome, they have a distinct
they have
look
features,
to them.
yeah.
Yes. They have distinct features, and, I seriously doubt your brother would be treated the same way by the bus driver.
Right.
She was.
He would. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would probably be taken to the police to get help.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You would hope.
They would
You would hope.
They would either call
You would
someone.
hope. You would hope.
They would call someone. They would invite him onto the bus just so they know that he's safe until they can get someone there.
Right.
Not this bus don't go there. Take a hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need a ticket. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, the
That's
one
for
scene
sure.
where she's trying to get the bus. She sleeps overnight outside of the bus stop where she's trying to get the rest of the way to L.A. She's standing there, and all she's got is quarters at that point. She needs like 20 some odd bucks, but she starts bringing out quarters, and that guy had no patience for that whatsoever. I got so mad at that scene. I was like, dude, seriously, do you not understand what's going on in front of you? You can tell there's a problem. Mike might be able to tell she's got autism, but you can tell there's a serious problem here.
Yeah, there's an issue.
And all he does is just get the hell out of my line. Go. It's just, man, old codger.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But, okay, so at the end of this movie, she delivers the script, and she's got the help of Scotty, and she's got the help of her sister and Scotty's son. They kind of find her. They track her down eventually, and they help her get to Paramount. And she walks in herself and goes and delivers it. I love the scene where she just kind of overcomes some of her inhibitions and just lays into that guy. And of course, it's like.
Well, hold on, back up for a minute for the people who didn't see the movie. Basically, she gets it there on time, and the guy says, "No, I'm not going to take it because it's not postmarked. We only accept them by mail."
Right.
And basically tells her to get out. This is
Right.
a low-level
mailroom
clerk who's in charge of 6 people, and his head is so big he can barely fit through the door.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So continue.
Yeah. So he goes. And it's this great scene where she's like, "Do you know who I am?" And he thinks she's like gonna play some sort of "I'm a big shot,"
Well,
celebrity
he's in
thing.
Hollywood, of course.
That's what he thinks she's gonna pull. But oh no, she's smarter than that. She goes, "No, do you know who I'm?" He goes, "Lady, I don't know who you are." And she goes, "Good." And she walks right around him and shoves it into the incoming mail because no one's gonna know it's hers because the name is on the package. It was great.
Yeah.
It was just
that was
fantastic how
smart.
she does that.
Yeah.
So then she comes back out and she got it delivered in time. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So